All right. If you have any questions as we're going through the workshop, feel free to either chime in or you're welcome to put your questions in the chat. We do a couple of minutes afterwards of answering some questions that were actually added when people are registered, or some of the questions that came up during the workshop. So you guys are looking at a refreshed and updated declutter workshop for 2024. We always try to go in and find some tidbits and things that may be a good addition that are new and refreshed. So stay tuned. There's a couple of them that are here. All right, so we are good on this, and let me share. All right, so you should be able to see everything that I am seeing, and then we're going to get started. So the goal for today is for you to go from this literally crazy looking lady, which some of us I think may look like it after the holiday season, go into someone who is just wearing a red cape, just smiling confidently and saying, you know what, I totally got this. So don't worry about it. I think by the end of the workshop today, I will give you, and I promise you, you will have some tips and tricks that are going to arm you to help you with whatever decluttering project that you have set out for yourself to accomplish this month or maybe this quarter. So just a quick introduction for those of you that I'm seeing for the first time. My name is Olga St Pierre. I am a real estate agent by trade. However, I do deal with a lot of decluttering and right sizing as part of our business. As you can imagine, often when all of us have to move, and eventually we all do, the first thing that we have to do is pick up the personal things and kind of figure out what we're doing. Are we taking those things or not? So I have over 15 years of experience helping clients move across the United States and Canada. And I have quite a few of the experience, but I can tell you I'm not quite an expert yet because new things do come up every day. And this is why I truly love the profession that I'm in. I'm very passionate about it. Our team mission is to help everyone with a dream of becoming a homeowner, actually becoming one. And once you are a homeowner, you know it doesn't stop there. You have to maintain and keep an eye out on your biggest investment that you have. And it is the biggest investment for many of us. So we help you, and we're right there alongside with you, helping you be a sustainable and responsible homeowner as well. We do have a complete move solution from start to finish for all of our clients. And part of that is also our concierge service. So think of that as your yellow pages. If you need a contractor, you need a painter. We're now going into a season of tax preparations. If you wanted to talk to some other professionals to help you get taxes done or make plans, we have that available. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us, and we're happy to help you with making some recommendations from the contractors that we have used, as well as our clients have used. So that's a little bit about us. And now we're going to dive in, and we're going to talk about decluttering. And decluttering can also mean right sizing. It can mean a lot of different things for people. However, what I can tell you about is talking about decluttering, which I have been for the last 5 years, and all of the research that I have done to make this as a simple and straightforward as possible for you. I know for a fact now that decluttering is not just something hip and fun that you see on social media. It is something that is extremely important for your physical and your emotional health. It is 100% backed by scientific research. And I think a lot of us are always thinking and trying to figure out what we're going to clear out and right size and make sense for us is because stuff comes into our house just about every day. Think about mail. Mail comes in 6 days a week, whether you like it or not. It's paper. Paper is the biggest attractor of dust, and more people are now becoming allergic to dust. And with time, it becomes painful, becomes too much. We don't know what paper are we keeping, what's important, what's not, and then we end up keeping it anyway. And then we get overwhelmed. We don't know where to start. What are we going to do, and how and why? And then we just get too frustrated and we walk away. right? And I think this is why a lot of us are, we just don't know what to do. So today, my goal is to give you some really actionable tips on how to make this as stress-free as possible. And I truly believe it's very much possible. And declutter does affect us on a couple of different levels, but the biggest one that I want to share with you today is the subconscious level. And the subconscious level is actually kind of like, it's like the operating system for a computer. We have one too. It's called our subconscious. And a lot of the stress and things that that clutter affects us sits on our subconscious level. We don't think about it every day, but it's there, and it's kind of like a little, hamster wheel. It just going to weigh you down, and it's going to wear you down, and you can tell that it is affecting you is because of the level of energy that you have when you're looking at your stuff. Clutter 100% can be a source of stress, depression, health issues, right? If you have clutter in your bedroom and you're not sleeping well, it could be the reason for that. Family problems and home disrepair. I've seen quite a few of it in working with my clients, especially in trying to get, maybe husband and wife on board, where the wife is like, yep, I am gone home, I'm ready to go. And the spouse in the other side is like backpedaling and saying, well, I don't want to get rid of this. I still want this. I'm not ready. So it becomes a stressful situation sometimes. And one of the biggest things too is a home disrepair. What can start out as a small problem becomes a big problem if it's not taken care of over time, or if it's something that is buried, you may not even realize that it's there, and it just becomes an issue over time as well. So as clutter accumulates, the energy is going to stagnate, right? When you feel kind of swampy about the stuff that we're talking about. And I think because you're here, that clutter does bother you. So it's kind of a little bit of a ding that you're ready for a change. And there's no better time than now, when we are in the beginning of a new year, 2024, to kind of get a fresh start. And here's how we're going to do it. I have a game plan for you. And I can tell you that whatever excuse you're telling yourself, because that's what our brain is really, really good at, is giving you excuses, say, well, not today. Oh, you're tired. Oh, it's late. Or there's dinner that needs to be made. Believe me, today, my goal is to get rid of all of your excuses until you don't have any, because it does not have to be as complicated as we all make it out to be. Okay, so that is what the goal is for today. So the number one thing that we're going to do is we're going to get started. And how we're going to do that is we're going to set up an appointment. Just like you set up an appointment to go see a doctor, or you need to go to the grocery store, setting an appointment with yourself for your decluttering, especially your first one, is going to be just as important. So open up your calendar. I'm going to give you some homework for today, and look at your first, let's say you have 2 days off if you're still working. So look at your first day off, or a first morning off, where you're not going to be boggled down with things to do, and set up an hour. So let's say it's going to be this upcoming Saturday at 10 a.m. That means that 10 a.m. from 10 to 11 is going to be that 1 hour appointment decluttering with yourself. Okay, so that is going to be your first appointment. Next, how are we going to set up for that appointment? It's very simple. Don't overthink it. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't try to talk yourself out of it. You have an appointment, okay? So when your appointment does come on Saturday morning, you're going to get rid of all of distractions. Your phone is going to be put on silent. You can't touch it. You cannot look at it. And you're going to respect that time and ask yourself to be fully present and focused to make sure that you are successful. Okay, next, we're going to change into comfortable clothing and make sure that you have breakfast or something to eat before that, and you have a bottle of water. Because guys, here's a bonus number one for today's workshop. When you declutter, you also are going to work out. So it's like 2 for 1, which is an amazing thing for me, in my opinion. When you declutter, you're going to be moving around. And as we all know, you should be moving your body every day for 10 minutes at least, or 30 minutes. So you're going to be moving your body in addition to decluttering for 1 hour. So you wear yoga pants, wear something comfortable, and have some water, okay? And now you're going to take a timer, and you cannot use your phone. So use a kitchen timer or microwave or stove timer, which is just simple, right? The function of the timer is just that, and set it for 60 minutes. And then we're going to get to work. Next, put on some music. Music is proven to get your adrenaline going and get you excited about whatever it is you're working on. And also, you guys know me, have a notebook, not a phone, not something digital, but have a physical notebook, notepad, piece of paper, something to write with. I am big on jotting things down. This way, you're not using your brain as storage facility. You are using your brain to come up with ideas and action plans. And then you're going to put them down on paper. So brain feels good about the fact that you have it written down so that it doesn't have to work extra hard remembering what it is that you wanted to remember. So the notebook is going to be there for you to jot down your notes, reminders, make your plans for next time, what room you're working on, who do you need to give stuff to, whatever it is that you're going to come up with in the 1 hour that you're working, okay? Now, decluttering does not have to be a chore. You can always make it a game. You can make it fun. So I have some suggestions here for you if you're not sure what to do, because the internet is the plethora of finding some things that are interesting. So we came up with a couple of different suggestions for you. If you want to have a number attached, make it a game, come up with that number. Example is a 12-12-12 challenge, 12 things to throw away, to donate, to go put back in their place. If you say, Olga, well, I have the whole house, I don't even know where to start, then we have a 21-day challenge. We have a 30-day challenge for you that we can send to you if you want to do that. And all you have to do is on day 1, say, okay, what's on my list? It says empty 1 junk drawer. And that's what you do. You have that 1 appointment for 1 hour, and you're going to focus on just working on that junk drawer. So let us know if you want us to send it to you, which we absolutely can. Okay, next. Don't overthink it in terms of, well, I'm not prepared. I don't have all the stuff that I need. You don't need it. The only thing really you need is a trash can and recycle can. And other things that I have here for you are just bonuses, additional things that will make it easier for you. So storage bins or bags or boxes, Post-it notes in different colors to help you with labeling. And here's a way you're going to try to kind of separate things if you're working in a certain room. You have one item, one pile or box or bin for things they're going to keep, one for donating, one for undecided, throw away and sell. Now, everybody, here's the rule of thumb. By the end of your appointment, if we're just talking about the first appointment, the goal is not to have everything in the undecided pile. The goal is to have a little bit in each of these categories, okay? You don't have a box, you don't have a bag, use 4 corners of the room. Each room is going to have it, okay? So as you're working through things, I want you to keep these things in mind. Trust your intuition, trust your gut. When you're picking up something and you're like, God, I don't even know what this is. Or, you know what, I haven't used it for a couple of years. Do I really need it? Don't try to talk yourself out of it, into it. Just say, you know what, I'm not going to need it. I haven't used it. Donate. Or, you know what, I could probably get some money for it. I'm just going to put it in my garage sale pile. Boom. And then if you pick up something, say, you know what, I need to give this to my daughter that moved out of my house 15 years ago because that's her. So that's going to be going into that giveaway pile. All right. So you're going to be focusing and working on this for 1 hour, and you're going to focus until that ding of that timer goes off. Okay. Next, 1 hour is up. We're going to then stop, and you're going to pat yourself on the back and say, go me. I have accomplished my first appointment with myself for my decluttering journey. And next, what I want you to do is take that notebook that I already mentioned to you, and I want you to jot it down and say, okay, today I am working in my bedroom, and this is what I focused on, and this is what I did not finish or I did finish. And I need to reach out to my daughter because she has some of the stuff that I want to give to her, and I'm going to do that today. And I can tell you that you need to tell your family or friends and give them a deadline to remove the things that you want them to have. Otherwise, they will continue to use your home as a rent-free storage facility. I see it all the time, every day, all day long. Okay, so then you say, okay, I also have a bunch of things that are going to be donated. Then you need to get up, take that box and put it right in your car so that way next time you drive by a thrift store, you can donate it, right? So actions, quickly get things done and figure it out. And that's what the notebook is there for, all right? Now, let's dive in and actually talk about each room. I want you to use this workbook as a guide. Everybody's decluttering journey is going to be different. And the goal is ultimately, I think you all will agree with me, is not to do this every year where you get overwhelmed and you get buried in a pile of stuff, but you're going to be setting up a system and say, you know what, I'm going to go through this one big decluttering project that is very stressful for me. And I'm going to invest and set up systems to help myself to never go through this again. Now, it doesn't mean that you're not going to have to tidy up or do some things on a regular basis. We all are going to have to do that because stuff comes into our house. Yet the goal is to get majority of this taken care of, like 70, 80%, and then just do a little bit every week or every month and get it under control and manageable. And that's the systems that I'm talking about. So for example, in the kitchen, I have lots of visual examples here for you. These are all the things that you can either do free with Amazon boxes if you're on the budget, with clear glass jars from pasta sauce or pickles, which are my favorite because they're nice and big. Or if you want to invest in systems that you can purchase from Amazon, Walmart, Lowe's, and Target, all of the ideas are here for you, okay? So the goal is, if you are in a home that is older, you're not going to have a lot of space. If you are in a rental situation, you may also not have a lot of space. But the idea is for you to take a look at your space with a new set of eyes and say, how can I use all the airspace that I have in my home? So how do I make my space work for me? And that's why you have all these systems that are available to you to kind of figure things out. And what I'm talking about is using doors, using narrow spaces between the fridge and the wall, using vanity cabinets, and making sure, especially the cabinets under our sinks. We don't use all that space there because we don't think about it. Yet you can get some stackable organizers, shelves, and things like that to use all that airspace that you have around the sink base. Next, don't forget about your fridge. I have some guidelines here for you. If you want to label it and only put things in those areas, it's also going to help you save money, because if you're going to be running out of food, you can then put it on your list on your refrigerator, and you're not going to have 5 different ketchup bottles because they're all over the place in different places in your refrigerator, okay? Then as you're going through cabinets in your kitchen, don't think that you're going to do the whole kitchen all at once. Just focus on one drawer or one cabinet at a time. And when you're looking at the stuff that you use, ask yourself, how many cups and serving utensils do you really need? Are those things in good shape? So I want you to think about the fact that silicone and wood splinters and dries up with time. So look at your utensils and say, okay, how old is it? How long have I had it? Could it be that I'm eating chips of wood because I'm cooking with it all the time? Perhaps it's time to get rid of those things and then do a refresh. And that's also like setting up a system, right? You're not spending money. You are investing in a system that's going to help you manage your household, okay? And then also look at how many items do you use only once a year. I can't tell you about having the parade of appliances every time I see clients and we kind of talk about the preparing when they're ready to downsize or maybe they're moving somewhere. And then it's one of the first things I tell them, say, okay, you have all the space occupied in your pantry by things that you very rarely use, that you bought maybe on impulse, or you have a parade of these appliances in the basement. I want you to go through them and say a few of them that you maybe are going to keep because they truly do matter, and how many of them just sitting there and occupying and using up space and then collecting dust. So that's your homework. And I want you to use, depending on what your decluttering journey is just use each slide as a guide to help you and give you some of the ideas of what you can do in your own space. Now we're heading into the bathroom. Okay, here I want you to start with the stuff that you currently have. So lotions and potions and powders and makeup. I want you to take everything out, and anything that is a year old, you need to toss. Just remember that these are the things that you put on your body. Your skin is the biggest organ that you have that gets absorbed. Those things have chemicals in it because obviously they want it to be kept fresh because it's not refrigerated, which means that the older it is, the worse the chemicals are going to get. And here's a fact that I can tell you with 100% certainty is that the body that we all get when we're born on this earth is the only body, the only home that you have. I can't help you with this body. And when it starts malfunctioning or you're starting to feel those aches and pains, you can call me and say, Olga, I want a new body. Just like you can do that with your home, that's not a problem. You can downsize, you can buy a vacation home, you can do all of those things. But the body that you're born into is the only one you get, which means that it's even more important for us to take care of it. And that means that you do invest in fresh products every 6 months is just a general, simple rule of thumb for you to get some new and fresh lotions as well as your makeup. Next, you want to set up systems for your morning and evening routine so that way it's easily accessible. So use a plastic bin is the easiest way for you to group the products and then you use them for easy reach in your vanity. So think about your morning routine, think about your evening routine and organize it that way. And again, especially in the bathrooms where we don't have a lot of space, think about how you can use all the airspace that we have. Could it be shelves above the toilet? Could it be some kind of standing shelving between your toilet and your vanity? Definitely organizing the space under your vanity. So I have some suggestions here for you, right? So think about how you can do that, how you can potentially use command hooks and shelves. They're truly amazing. Like maybe you don't want to put holes on your walls or you can't do that because you're renting. So some suggestions here for you. Now let's head into the bedrooms. Your bedroom is your number one most peaceful place. If you're not sleeping well, as I already mentioned before, could it be because of all the crap that you have laying around that you don't realize that is affecting you on that subconscious level, right? For the brain to ignore the clutter, and that's that subconscious route that I'm talking about, it takes that mental effort, it takes that energy, and when you're burning energy, you're not relaxing. You're not giving your brain time to recharge for the next day. Okay. So in the bedroom, we are heading into your closet. If you thought I was going to kind of avoid it, nope. We're going to take care of your clothes. Absolutely. So here are the questions that I recommend that you ask yourself when you're heading into the closet. Does it fit? Have I worn it in the past 12 to 24 months? Am I going to wear it again? Do I feel good when I wear it? Is it my style or is it just in style? If it's damaged, do I have time to fix it or it's not worth it? And if I were shopping right now, would I buy it? Right? So these are some of the questions that I recommend that you ask yourself. Don't ask them all. Ask some of them that make sense to you. And then put some donation bins or boxes in your closet. So if you see something, but you just like, I can't just literally take it and donate it, put it in the box and then see what happens and see how you feel about this particular item after a month. If you still feel okay with it being in that box and you haven't worn it or thought about it, it's time to donate it. Okay. You can also, there's some other organizing tips and tricks that others recommend, like a reverse hangers. So think about what you can do. Maybe you could do matching hangers, maybe you can do some color coordination, but I'm a big fan of using clear totes, clear boxes, or some of these boxes too for storing things. I like to see what I have, so that way, you know, I would probably turn them where you can see things. You can use hooks on the backs of the doors, and definitely use up all the space in your closets. I think that's another thing that we don't think about, is how much space we waste in our closets, especially if the closets are small. So think about some of these organizer kits that you can find in any of the stores to help you utilize all the airspace that you have in your closets. Some other ways to help you kind of get your creative juices going. These IKEA wardrobes are really great, and they're not expensive. What we liked about them is some of them have either like a glass front or regular double doors, but the fact that they close means that your stuff is not going to get dusty. So it's an inexpensive way if you don't have a closet in your room, or if you want to add some more storage, easy way without having to build a closet. And then some other inexpensive ways for you to kind of plan your space depending on your budget and what you have to work with as well. Now we are heading into the basement and the garage. My opinion, if you have a garage, 80% of that, well, okay, not 80, maybe 70% of that should be used for actually storing your cars, because the cars are the second most expensive investment that we do make. Okay, so my recommendation to you is try and think about the storage in your basement as well as your garage, not just on the floor, but your ceilings as well as your walls. There's tons of different options available for you, where you can have pegboards, you can have shelves that you can use totes to store stuff in and get things organized by like zones of different things. And these shelves in the top right corner actually attach to your ceiling. So that way you can get stuff off the floor, and then you can use hooks on those shelves to actually hang more stuff. Like, this is my ultimate favorite, because I love organization and I love to use all the space that I can get. This is, I think, my most favorite of what you can do in the basement and the garage. If you don't have the ability for that, then look at some of these garage organizers where you can hang as much stuff as possible. Again, the goal is to get as much stuff off the floor as possible and to hang it on the wall and the ceiling if you can. Okay, so see what space you have to work with and then decide what makes sense to you. Next, we're heading into family and living room. Tons of ideas here for you as well, but let's just go through some of the major ones. Number one, start out with the books or magazines that you have. If you're not going to be rereading those books, remember what I already mentioned to you, that papers are the biggest attractors of dust. And no matter how much you vacuum, it's not going to help you when you're dealing with paper and textbooks and encyclopedias and magazines especially. So get rid of stuff. You can donate things to the library like textbooks, encyclopedias, and magazines, but books, absolutely, I would take them to the library. I would take them to senior centers, places like that. They always love and accept those things. Then don't forget about electronics and cords. Look at your pillows and blankets on your couches. Definitely look through some pictures and papers and magazines and go through those things. And think about the space that you do have. Maybe you have ottomans. They are great for storage. I love the idea that you can use it for, putting things on top when you're having snacks, and also using it as storage, like a 2-for-1 kind of thing. And then I have some other ideas for you here. One of the things that we talk about with my clients is, when you do declutter, one of the hardest things for you for a lot of the times to declutter, and that's what I suggest a lot of people start out with, is furniture. Let's say you have a lot of furniture that you need to downsize. The biggest and the most difficult furniture to get rid of a lot of the times is your dining room. Some of the older generations have the big tables and chairs and these dining room hutches. And I can tell you that if you have a hutch and it's 2 pieces, the top where you stored your dishes and crystal, that is almost impossible to get rid of. Nobody wants it, and the thrift stores are not going to take it either. So a lot of the times, unfortunately, it has to go into bulk pickup and goes into trash. However, if you can separate the two, the bottom part can be used as a TV stand, or it can be used in your living room or a family room for storage. So think about how you can repurpose maybe some of your furniture from one room to the other. All right, let's talk about that paper because we're now heading into the office. This is one of the most important slides that I have in this workbook for you because I get these questions all the time. Well, Olga, I don't know how long I need to keep these papers for, so I'm just going to keep it all. And you don't have to do that. So I have a very nice checklist here for you that you can review in the comfort of your home after this workshop. But the two bullet points that I want to point out to you that are very important are the ones at the bottom. One is called Keep Forever, and the second one is What Are We Shredding? Okay, so Keep Forever is something that you should be keeping in a safe or safety deposit box, and you can purchase the safe just about anywhere. I've seen it at Costco, Lowe's, Home Depot, or Amazon, because the Keep Forever category are the things that are going to be either impossible to replace or challenging to replace. Maybe you have to deal with the government. So think about it like your power of attorneys, legal documents, birth and death certificates, burial arrangements, power of attorneys, diplomas, copyrights, patents, divorce decrees, education records. Please review this category. And one of the things that, if you take away a couple of things from this workshop, this should be in your top 3. That things that are important, that are very difficult to replace, mementos, things that are truly important to you particularly, should be put in the safe. Because if, God forbid, something happens to your home, these items are going to survive. And the second category that I mentioned to you is always shredding. Anything has a signature, account number. If you're doubting yourself, should you shred it or not, go ahead and do that. So that you should invest in a basic shredder that you can purchase on Amazon. That's what I have here in my office. And this way, if you're not sure, go ahead and shred it. This way you have a peace of mind knowing that you took care of it in the proper way. Now, in the office, I already mentioned to you, we have mail that comes in 6 days a week. I already went through my mail from this morning, and I can tell you that the less options you give yourself, the better off you're going to be. 6 days worth of paper coming into your world means that you need to stay on top of it on a weekly basis. Here's how I do it. This is my system that works for me, and everybody's going to be different. I have 3 categories for my paper and the mail that comes in. Category number 1, it needs to be shredded. Category number 2 is the things that I need to review. So I take it out and I put it in my cabinet for a Saturday morning to go through everything and look through bills and things like that. And then category number 3 is recycle. Envelopes, inserts, things like that, pamphlets, flyers, grocery store flyers that I don't need and I'm not going to use, go straight into a recycling bin that I dump out into my recycle bin outside once a week. That's it. You don't have to make it super complicated, make it as simple as possible for you. And that's the system that works for me. Now, how you organize things is truly up to you. So I gave you some suggestions here as well. Labeling, shredding, having a shredding box is important. Having a shredder nearby is also important. So decide what makes sense for you to give you the peace of mind knowing that you're staying on top of those things as well. Now, let's run through and talk about, how we had different categories of things that we have separated. What do we do with it now? Now, with the throwaway, take advantage of your township bulk days, your regular trash and recycle days. You can also take advantage of different counties offer these days where it's electronic recycle and hazardous trash days as well, because you cannot just put the stuff in the regular trash. So see when the calendar is coming for the new year. I actually look to see what it is for our area, and it's not out yet, because when it is out, I take it and I put it on my Google Calendar and I say, okay, this is what makes sense to me. This is the closest one. And I start collecting whatever stuff I have. And you can put in your garage, your laundry room, your shed. Okay, so take advantage of the services that are offered by your township and your county when you're throwing stuff away. Here's a fun idea for you if you're like, well, I have all this stuff to do. So if you want to make it a fun thing, here's 50 things that you can throw away that you can look at between today and this weekend. Okay, so here's just a fun thing for you to jump on, okay, that you can take a look at it. Next, let's talk about things that are a biggie for all of us. Guarantee you, because this comes up every time people will ask me, what about the stuff that gets passed down to us by our family? Things that have been in our family for generations. You have boxes stored in your attic, in your basement. It's from your aunt and uncle, or even maybe further down another generation. And then you feel guilty because you feel like you're letting your family down. I have some suggestions here for you where you choose to keep a few pieces on display, making a piece of art or collage. And then I encourage you to take the photos of larger pieces to keep as memories as a photo album. And also, of course, see if the family members want something as well. They can keep a couple of other pieces, okay? It is time to digitize our photos and albums. It's important because those things do disintegrate. And I think photos are the best things that we can keep for memories. So you can do it through different services. Costco offers it as well, or online services as well. For records, DVDs, CDs, VHSs, it's interesting. Some of the stuff is coming back. VHSs are now in demand, so you may want to check on eBay to see if maybe you can sell some of them. Otherwise, you recycle them and then donate the rest. And what I invite you to do is just to remind yourself that you're not casting memories and heirlooms aside. What you're doing as a living human being in your family, you are creating that breathing room in your current life, and you're freeing yourself of that extra weight. And you're recognizing and realizing that what is the most important is happening right now for you, where you are creating new memories for yourself and for your other family members, not just storing those boxes in your attic that are going to be attracting dust and taking up space. So just food for thought. Some other ideas here for you for schoolwork and memories for your kids and your grandkids. You can take a look and see what makes sense to you on how to display, how many of those pieces to keep, what you can do in terms of creating memories. You know, you can create like a blanket made from old t-shirts, which I think is super fun. But just remember, you can't keep it all. It's just too much. And that's what I had to decide and kind of figure out with my own daughters, where I had to collide everything from all of their schoolwork and keep maybe just a couple pieces from each of their years, where I wrote on the back of the project what year it was in and who did it. So just decide what makes sense to you and how much space that you have. In terms of selling, it's not a bad idea, but just remember that a lot of us have expectations of things that we do have that are worth a lot of money, and in reality, they're not. So take a look on eBay, take a look on Etsy. If you are on social media, Facebook Marketplace is one of my favorites. There's also lots of apps that you can do things and sell things simply. You can go the traditional route of hosting a garage sale or yard sale. You can do an online sale like a Max Sold, or the things that don't sell afterwards, you're just going to donate them. And of course, we have a list of options if you don't want to do like a generic one to take stuff to the thrift store and you wanted to do some more specific things as well. So how do we stay clutter-free? Remember, it takes work because of the amount of stuff that we have coming in. So my suggestion to you is you do a little bit every day. You tidy up, you put a few things away, you take advantage of your trash and recycle every week you have it, whether it's once or twice a week. Okay, so don't put it down, put it away, or create certain spaces in each of your rooms where you're going to put those things. One in, one out rule. If you're going to buy something, go ahead and donate something. And definitely have some kind of paperwork system for that paper that comes in every day, however you think it's going to make sense to you. Now for the action plan. This is what I suggest you do after you walk away from this Zoom and you have this workbook in front of you on what to do next. I recommend that you have that notebook. Grab it as one of the first things that you can do and jot down your thoughts. What is it that you're embarking on? Why is it important to you? What bothers you? That's, I think, is a big one. Do you have maybe a deadline or a time frame? Maybe you are thinking about downsizing. Maybe you may need to sell your home. What does that look like in terms of time frame? Because what I can tell you is that most people truly underestimate how much stuff that they have accumulated in the time that they have lived in their current home. Okay. Do you need to ask someone for help? Maybe you're older and your back is not as good as it used to be, and you have boxes in the attic and the basement. Do you just need someone to help you bring all this stuff out and help you? That's where maybe an organizer that can help you do that. Okay. Purchase painter's tape. It's one of my favorite ways to sort things visually, to kind of give you a visual peace of mind, knowing that you're making progress in your project. They sell this tape on Amazon. I love it because it's not just one color. You can designate different colors for different things that you want. For example, red could be to get rid of, orange could be family, yellow could be donation, green I'm keeping, blue undecided, and purple something else. Okay, so decide. The fact is that painter's tape is easily peelable. So if you wanted to change your mind, you can do that. You just peel it off and put it on a different item. Okay. Next, set that time and date to get started. Decide on when your first date and time is going to be. It's one of the most important things to make progress. And just remember, how are you going to accomplish it? One 30-minute slot, 1 hour slot at a time, but a little bit is going to get you going in the right direction. One appointment at a time, consistently, week after week or day after day. And I invite you to use this workbook as a guide to help you depending on what it is that you have on your journey. So how can we help you? If you enjoyed this presentation, please come back because we have it every month. So if you need a little pep talk, if you need to ask questions or something else, please visit us. Every month we have this workshop, and also you're going to get a recording of this one as well, so that way you can refer back to it. If you need recommendations for contractors or that muscle or that organizer, please let me know. I'm here to help you with that. If you want to pick my brain personally, I am also happy to do that. I actually enjoy organization and decluttering. It's one of my kind of like a de-stressor things, depending on how my day went or my week went, whether it's, my children or working with clients. And of course, we have other workshops that we handle and do every week that you can find on our Live with Olga schedule. And my contact information is here. I do answer my phone. You can reach out to me. I am a real living and breathing person, and I'm happy to talk to each of you. And I also want to encourage you to take the before, during, and after photos, because nothing speaks better to show you the progress that you've made when you look at the photos of the things that you've done. It may not look like much in the beginning, but you'll be able to see the difference when you go back and look at your photos. And if you do want to stay in touch with me, most of the time I am hanging out on Facebook, so I would love to connect with you there. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. I know it's a lot, but I just encourage you to take a few pieces out of this workbook, depending on what it is and what room you may be working on, because everybody's declutter journey is different, and just go with it. Set up that one appointment, set up that 1 hour time slot, have a notebook to jot things down, and then go ahead and get started. So let me look and see if we have questions first, and then I invite you to jump in if you want. Okay. So we just posted the schedule for the upcoming classes, as well as our YouTube channel, where all of our workshops are kind of being hosted if you wanted to go back and rewatch them again. So you'll be able to click on that. All right, questions that we have. Let me go back all the way up. There's a few. All right. I hope the background noise wasn't so bad. I'm just seeing that. Okay. All right, so Greg asked about the paper decluttering. I think we covered that with our checklist of things to keep. Okay. Perfect. Yes, everybody's going to get a copy of the workbook. So shredding events, the best way I can suggest, because we have different people from different places, is just Google shredding event near me, because everybody has different things. I know some banks handle it periodically. I know some of the like political figures in our area host these shredding events. And I always have my own little shredder here too, to kind of manage it a few sheets at a time as well. So the jars that we talked about, yes, Jess has a good point, like pickle jars or mason jars or any kind of glass jars are also great for bathroom items as well. You can use them in the office to keep pens and pencils or to store Q-tips, cotton balls, and other things as well. So yes, copies of the slides are going to be available for sure. All right. Okay. Can use pieces of felt between pots and pans to save space, for sure. Actually, thanks, Barb. That's always a good thing too. If you're trying not to scratch your pots and pans too, you want to use something in between. Even like I've used paper towels too, like double layers as well. So whatever makes sense to you to kind of keep your systems going. I keep some family photos in the safety box as well in case of fire, for sure. Don't forget to scan them too, just in case. You want to have a digital copy too. Managing kid stuff, we talked about that you don't want to let go. Parting with long held but never used stuff, we talked about that. What strategies can be employed to prioritize retention and release of useful stuff? I always use a rule of thumb of if you haven't used it for a year, don't think that, if that one time that you're going to need it again, you borrow something or you just buy it again. There's no way that you can prepare for every eventuality that can happen. How do you let go and store keepsakes? How to get over the feeling that stuff could be useful, so worth saving? Yep, we talked about that. How to deal with different views of clutter and avoid conflict about what to keep and how to store it in a shared household. I think when you are, this is something that I deal with all the time with my husband and my kids. It's like, I think it's their mission in life to bring stuff every day for me to take care of so I can get more practice and I can better in sharing with you some of these ideas. But I always tell them, like, listen, the dining room table, I have a perfect example for you. My husband brought in a statue from my mother-in-law's house. That's a garden statue that is sitting on top of my dining room table because it needs to be repaired. Like a piece fell off. She loves it. I get it. But why do you need to put it on my dining room table? Right? So I said to my husband, I said, Rich, can we put it on the floor? Or can we put it in a designated space? Or can you say to me, okay, I'm going to take care of it in the next day or two, and then I'm going to bring it back. All right. So it's just sometimes you don't realize, and when we talk about designated places for things, this is what I'm referring to. You need to have a designated place when the mail comes in, so that way you don't lose it. It always comes in a certain spot. So decide what that is, so that way you don't drive yourself crazy and you don't drive other people crazy. But when you're in a family situation with your loved ones, you need to have a communication, say, okay, how do we make it work, everybody? Can we have a designated place for mail, for shoes, for random stuff that comes in all the time? That way I'm not asking you all the time and nagging you all the time. So that's kind of how I process it, and I work on it in my own household, but it's like never ending. So I'm disabled. Any easy tips for me? I think when you have some restrictions as well, it's even more important to have designated spaces. Let's say if if you're in the wheelchair, you need to have things that are lower to you, so that way you can see things better. So that also talking about maybe some organization and creating systems to help you make it easier for you to handle depending on what your restrictions are. All right, and then someone else said that I watched Olga's webinars before. I was hopeful that one of them will finally stick. Well, this is why I always suggest to you guys stop by every month, because every month you're going to listen to maybe some of the same things, but something is going to stick out differently this month because you're thinking about different things. How do I remove myself from the emotions related to decluttering, sadness, unable to make a decision, etc.? I think a lot of the times what helps me is deadlines. If I know that there's some stuff that I know I'm having a hard time making a decision on, I give myself a deadline. And then I ask myself, what are some of the feelings that come across it? And you say, okay, is it really worth it getting upset over something? Is it going to matter in 6 months to a year, whatever that is? So getting attached to some things, is it worth getting attached to them? Do they truly matter? Are they going to matter to me in a year or two? Am I going to take them with me when I downsize, or I go, if I had to move, would I take them with me? So let's ask some of those questions, and they may not be as emotional as you think they are when you ask a little bit of different questions. Yeah. All right. Anybody else has anything else that you wanted to maybe suggest that worked for you, or any other questions before we wrap up for the day? Just don't forget to unmute yourself if you do want to mention something.
Olga, I would suggest a dedicated notebook for when you're doing things, downsizing things, rather than the one that I use every time I have a webinar with you, because it'll fill up too fast.
I agree with you. I think you need to have a decluttering notebook, like for whatever project that you're talking about, because this way you know my silver notebook is declutter, my green is for renovations on my house, something like that. That way you know which one to go to depending on what it is that you're working or focusing on. For sure. Barb, you are my partner in writing things down and having notebooks. I love it. All right. Anybody else has anything else? Please come back and join us. We have another declutter workshop that is going to be coming up. Let me just look at the schedule. Let's see. So we're decluttering today. Yep, we have another one February 20th at 11 o'clock. So come back again in February. And then there's other topics that we have, but take a look at our schedule. You're welcome to come back every month if you want to, if that is going to help you get things moving in the right direction. And remember, it's just a little bit at a time. It's half hour at a time. It's 1 hour at a time. It's one drawer, one cabinet. When I had to rearrange my cabinet for my tea, I was determined because I needed to have that front and center because I wanted to enjoy it. So all it was is just my little lazy Susan. That's a little rotator that I cleaned out. That's all. It didn't have to be the whole cabinet, just that space. All right. Anything else you can think of? Sarah, no worries. We have this recorded. So that way you'll get a recording and you can also join us at another time as well. All right, everybody, we're going to wrap up. Happy New Year. Happy projects. Happy decluttering. I hope that I gave you some food for thought, and we hope to see you again soon. Okay? Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Fran.
All right. Bye-bye,
Thank you.
everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.